All right, guys, it's here. The video I've been waiting to make. The V9s that I ordered 5 months ago finally came in. Now, this is not a knock against Vaughn or anything. We obviously know what happened, the Rona, and that's what caused delays pretty much for everybody, especially things that are North American made. But man, this is the longest I've waited for gear ever, and I was really anticipating these pads too. So it was just it almost got to the point where like it got so long that like I even kind of stopped thinking about it and stopped getting excited about it. It's almost like it wasn't even going to be real. Like I was just never going to get it, especially since like you don't really know, like you don't really get updates from the companies saying like, oh, yours is next, or there's two ahead of you, and then we make so you're kind of just like in limbo trying to figure out when, or just guess when you might get the pads. So yeah, like these just showed up at my house yesterday randomly. Walk outside my house and there's boxes from Vaughn. They're like, okay, I'll take it. I really just, for all I knew, it could have been another month or two before I got these things. I don't know. But I'm super excited for the V9s. I'm going with these pads. I'm going in with a little different options, a little more modern than I have in the past with my Vaughn pads that I use mainly for myself. This is I've tried a few other things. Like I recently, you can see I did a review for the Pro V Elite pads, and that definitely had some influence on me. So yeah, I'm just gonna, I just took them out of the box yesterday. I haven't had a chance to use them yet. Gonna use them for the first time tomorrow. But after I use them for a few times, I'll do like an actual use review. But this is just gonna be, my initial thoughts on it and just looking over my new gear. So let's get to it. I'll start with what most people consider the most boring part, I guess, of a set, probably the blocker. And just real quick overall, I'll tell you like my idea with this set was to do sort of like a two-tone, like the face of the pad is one color basically, and then the back and sides are another color, and then with red being the accent. So I'm still sticking to my color scheme that I've been sticking with for a while now, which is like the classic Panthers colors of sport gold, well, red, navy, and sport gold. So yeah, I've never had navy as the main color of the face of my pad. I've had mainly red pads, and I've had, for my last few sets, I had mainly sport gold pads. So I wanted to go with navy as like the main front color with this one, but I wanted it to literally just be the face of the pad, and then like I said, the back and sides are gonna be sport gold, and then I incorporated the red just as like an accent color throughout both sides. So like the little cord running through here is red, the Vaughn logo is red, bindings are red. So anyway, this is the blocker. It's a little different than the V7 blocker I've been using, but overall it still has basically the same feel of a Vaughn blocker. Like if you've been using Vaughn blockers and like them, this is gonna be just a continuation of that. I feel like they just kind of make minor tweaks with it, and I also feel like sometimes they'll put something in a blocker one model year, then they'll take it out, and then like you'll see it reappear again in another later model year. Like for instance with this one, it's got this sort of like ridge along the sidewall here that I'm assuming they'll tell you is for like to try to prevent skip over of a puck or something, or to make it a little more rigid. So they've used that before in past blockers. Like with my V7 blocker, they didn't have it. It was just a straight flat sidewall. So this is like one of the things where I've seen it in past models, and now they've like brought it back. I don't know what their decision-making process with that is, why sometimes they decide to have it, they don't. But the thing is still, and this is probably the would be my biggest complaint about Vaughn blockers that I wish they could, maybe do something about, is the sidewall is still very like it'll protect you. It's definitely enough to protect you, not get injured or anything, but it's very bendable, flexy. So it's not really gonna help if like a puck hits it coming in, if you don't have your blocker necessarily directly facing the puck, if it's kind of to the side or something and the puck hits it, I don't really think it's gonna like help you out in those situations very much. I mean, the puck is gonna easily just bend this in, bend this in on the side and probably just go right in. Whereas like one of the top blockers I feel that are out there right now, the Bauer blocker. The side wall is like just as rigid as the face of it, and it's almost like a two-sided blocker. And I really like that. So that's something I wish that Vaughn would make it, like, maybe not, it doesn't necessarily have to be as rigid as like the Bauer one or whatever, but I think they could stiffen it up a little bit. I feel like it's one of the more loose, floppy sidewalls of any of the blockers out there right now. But other than that, I like their blockers, and they feel really comfortable. And, you know, especially since I've been ordering these sets that are matching, you know, I kind of just go with the blocker. Like the whole sidewall thing is not enough for me to like get a mismatching set and get a blocker from another company. And you know, the issue I talked about where, you know, pucks maybe hitting it and going through is not like something that's going to happen all the time, especially if you're using proper technique, because you shouldn't be turning your blocker. But as I've said in other videos, you know, we all make mistakes. We don't do proper technique all the time. So what else? But other than that, yeah, it has like a similar feel from my past blockers that I like. Something different they've done with this model is with the pinky and the index. This, I don't know what they would call this material, but whatever this material is called that they use here, it wraps around to the side of the finger protection, or I mean, not protection, but it wraps around to the side of the fingers. And apparently that's to like help with wear, because if you see like with these other fingers, they just has the black mesh on the side, and that tends to, you know, wear out, tear, get little cuts in it, whatever. So apparently, I guess they feel like the pinky and the index fingers are the ones that get the most wear and tear. So they put this material instead of the mesh in like the high wear areas where it would be rubbing against your stick more. Why they don't just do that with all the fingers, I don't know. I guess cost cutting maybe. They use that, maybe this material costs more than the mesh. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, it's not really something that's a huge deal for me. Like, yeah, pretty much every blocker I've ever had, if I've kept it for like a year or, you know, use it a lot, it's going to eventually, the finger protection is going to, you know, kind of wear down. Or not protection, I keep saying protection, but the finger stalls are going to like wear down, and you'll get a cut or whatever, you're going to have to fix it. There's like really no foolproof way probably to have that never happen if you're using your gear a lot. But well, you know, I'll see if this, you know, really like makes a big difference, whatever, when it comes to that. I mean, it's not going to really change the feel of anything. It's more just a durability thing. And of course, I can't really tell if that is going to make a difference until I use this for a while. So, the other thing is this little like finger sideball protection for the index finger. On my past blocker, it was actually attached to this part with just the little cord. And in this one, it's not. It's an independent thing. So I'm wondering if it might kind of interfere a little more with my stick, because with my past blocker that it was attached to this, you know, it would move with your fingers, and this one is just stationary. It doesn't move. So we'll see. I mean, I guess it can, you know, I'm sure even if at first it might interfere a little bit, you know, with use. I mean, it's not super stiff or anything. It bends. So if anything, the stick will probably like push it in or bend it a little, and then it wouldn't be an issue. Again, I don't even know if it would be an issue. This is just something going through my head looking at this right now. What else can I say? Oh, so the part like where the wrist area is. So now in the V9s, this is just like a half cuff, right? So the back of your wrist just rests against the actual blocker part. Whereas with my V7 blocker, it actually had another little, I guess they would call it like a full cuff or whatever, a one piece. It had another piece here. It wasn't just the blocker. And I do feel like this has a little more padding right here for the back of your wrist. What else? Yeah, other than that, like I said, it feels pretty much what I expect from a Vaughn blocker. The other thing is, and this is just an option that I did when I ordered it, you can get full carbon put throughout the face of the blocker, which of course makes it harder, and it's supposed to give off bigger rebounds. Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels a little harder than my V7 blocker, So it definitely stiffens that up. It remains to be seen until I use it exactly how rebounds are gonna come off of this. It still doesn't feel like as hard as like a Bauer blocker or whatever. So I don't anticipate it's gonna behave like that. But we'll see like what the improvement is over what their blockers have been in the past, where they haven't had like the full face carbon. But that's not a stock thing. So I think that's pretty sure that's something you have to get extra as an option if you're ordering custom. You tell them to do the full carbon on the face of it. But being that I like the Bauer blocker, I definitely went for that because I wanted the face to be as hard and give off as big rebounds as possible. And then just as far as like, I guess the looks of it, you know, it looks good. And I'll go into this, you'll see it more in like some of the other pieces of the gear, not so much on the blocker. But like aesthetically, I like some of the things they've changed on this. And I'm not just talking about like, obviously I designed the colors and the graphic. I mean, it's just the stock graphic, but it's colored out. But I'm not talking about like the decisions I made. I'm talking about just stuff that comes with it. So for instance, like the V9 logo, I actually think looks really nice. I think this is the nicest looking logo for the pad model that they've ever had. In the past, it's just been like stitched on, I'm pretty sure. And now they have it where it's like this, I don't know what you call the material, plastic or whatever. But it's something, I feel like it's the same thing you see on like Brian's, their B-Star logo is made out of the same material, I think, memory serves. And I feel like it's just a cleaner look and it looks a little nicer than just the stitched on V9 or V7 or whatever in the past that they've done. So, I mean, it's a pretty meaningless thing. Excuse me. It doesn't affect, obviously, any playing or anything. And it's a very minor thing. But it's just something I noticed that I thought the logo, and you'll see it on the other piece of gear, just looks really sharp compared to how their logos have looked in the past. Not that it looked bad, but it was just, excuse me, boy. You know, it was just like a stitched on kind of generic whatever thing. So yeah, so that's the blocker. We'll move on to the glove. Now the glove is definitely different than what I've gone for in the past. So I've been with my main sets and with my Vaughn stuff, I've always been going with their two-piece gloves. They've been offering one-piece gloves for a little while now, but it's just one of those things, like it wasn't even for necessarily a real specific reason. It's just one of those things like something I was used to and I've always used it, so I just keep using it, you know? If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know that like, I'm not necessarily against new things or super stuck set in my ways, but I'm a little slow to adopt to newer things because when I find something I like to just stick with it, you know? So like the gloves were working for me and I just kept sticking with the two-piece. Like it really, not that it really mattered too much for me, but it's just what I had been using, so I kept going with it. But as I've been trying like a lot of new stuff and, you know, the newer gloves and even like other brands too, not just Vaughn, and a lot of the newer stuff is all one piece. And, you know, there was no drawbacks for me to the one piece. If anything, it was a little better, and I'll explain why in a second, why I actually think the one piece is a little better and why I switched to that. So that's why, you know, it's always good to try new stuff because sometimes it'll open your eyes to things that you might not have known that you like and you want to switch to, right? So this is not necessarily the V9 glove that goes generically with the rest of the set or stock with the rest of the set. This is the XP. So the actual one that's like goes with the set is a two-piece glove. The XP is their one-piece version of it. I haven't seen or had in my hands a two-piece to really see if there's anything else different with the gloves other than the fact that it's one-piece or two-piece. From just looking at pictures online, it looks basically like the same glove, just literally the other one is two pieces and this is one piece. But like I said, because of what I've tried in the past and I'm liking more of the one piece, I just went with the one piece, and I'm definitely glad I went with that. So like the main reason why I switched to the one piece now is, like I said, I didn't experience any drawbacks to it, but I do feel like it, you know, makes the glove more solid. and it would help with, you know, if you ever get a shot, especially like to this upper part right here. I feel like sometimes, and especially with a two-piece glove, maybe not so much when you first get it, it's a little more all put together and stiffer. But as you use it more, because it's only attached with like cord to the rest of the glove, it gets really floppy-ish. And like if you get a really hard shot to here, I could see it like kind of pulling the cuff back a little bit, and it's one of those things where it hits your cuff and still goes in. You know, those suck, right? I don't know about you, but like I hate ones where I get a decent chunk of it and it still ends up going in the net. So I feel like, you know, the one piece is going to help with that a little bit. As with pretty much all my other Vaughn gloves in the past, out of the box, they can, like, I can close it, but it's not like super fappy. It's not like that easy to close. I mean, I have to use my good amount of my strength to close it, and it's not something I can, you know, just, you see the fat videos like that. I can't do that with this. You know, like, this is the best I can do, but it's, you know, it's not very easy. Obviously, the more you use it, it breaks it in more, whatever. And then, like with my V7 glove, I close it really easy now. But just like compared to other companies' gloves, a lot of them now are like super fappy, easy to close out of the box. Vaughn still requires more of a break-in than probably almost any other brand, I would say, out there. But that being said, it does break in, it does close easier, so whatever. I don't mind putting in a little work to break it in. Just because, like, to me, Vaughn gloves just feel the most comfortable. And I just catch better with them than any other glove I've tried. Like, I mean, there's definitely been other gloves I like and I can use, but for whatever reason, I just catch the best with Vaughn gloves. And like I said, they just feel the most natural, and especially like with the break angle of most of their Velocity line have been for a while now, and with this one is a 60-degree break, and it just feels the most natural to me. And obviously you can get other brands gloves with 60-degree break, but I don't know what it is with Vaughn. It just feels a little more natural to close and just more comfortable. And I really like Vaughn gloves, not just with this one. This has been with my past ones too, how it goes in on the palm area here. So like if you get a puck hitting it, it'll cause it to ramp up into the pocket area. So it's like the way the glove is designed, like there's a little, you can see there's like a little curve to this area here, and it's like, so it's almost designed so like anything that hits in this area would just be funneled right into the pocket. And so like I've used some other gloves where this part is more flattened, and I've experienced that whenever a puck would hit that, or not maybe every time, but a lot of times a puck would hit that area and it would bounce out. Like, it would almost be like no chance that it goes into the pocket. I feel like Vaughn gloves are kind of idiot proof when it comes to that, and you almost don't even have to close the glove a lot of times. It traps the puck in the pocket for you almost. It's like idiot proof, like I said. So I really like that about Vaughn gloves, and this feels like the same sort of thing. This does feel like it's more reinforced in the palm area than past Vaughn gloves I've had. I didn't order like a practice palm or anything special. This is their game ready stock regular palm, but it does feel a little more reinforced, a little harder. Maybe that's just because it's brand new and after a while it'll break down. I don't know, but to me, I don't remember my other Vaughn gloves feeling this much protection in the palm. And like I said, that's just the stock game ready one. As far as like the back side of it, it's a little more busy than some of the other ones I've had in the past. So you see it has these two Velcro strap things that you have to undo both of them to open it up. And then it's got this other piece here that you undo, and then you can get to some of the other straps underneath. I feel like there's a little more strapping involved with this glove than there is on my V7 or was on my V6. You know, whatever, it's not a huge deal, I guess. Whatever, like, it kind of like how I say with the blocker, right, where from one model to another, they might get rid of something, and then in another model later, they bring it back. I kind of feel like with the backhand strapping and closure of some of these gloves, it's kind of the same thing. Like for a couple models, they'll do it one way, then they'll kind of switch it up and go back to like an older way or a different way. Like, it doesn't matter. As long as the back part all closes up, it doesn't really matter to me, right? So it's a little different than my V7 is, but I don't care. You know, the way I'm with my gloves, and I've already done it with this, I set it to how I want here to fit my hand as snug as I want it to. And then I set it and forget it. I don't, you know, I'm not one of these guys that undoes my glove during a game or whatever. I put it to a setting where it's tight enough to stay in my hand, but loose enough where I can take my hand in and out without having to undo a bunch of stuff. So another thing that's a little different about this glove than my V7 glove is it's got this one piece cuff thing here, right? So with my V7 glove, it didn't have this bottom part. It had this part that goes over, and then the bottom was just the cuff. I don't really notice that making much of a difference with this. Let me just close this up real quick before I keep talking, because I want to show you something. So yeah, I don't feel like the cuff really makes that much of a difference to me. It doesn't really feel any different. The only thing I will say, and it's the same thing that I've experienced with past Vaughn gloves, and if you've watched any other previous reviews I've done that involves a Vaughn glove, it's the same thing that's just with this one, is how the mobility in the wrist with it, I feel like could be a little better. I feel like definitely Warrior and like the Bauer 2S, they give you a lot of freedom in the wrist area, so you're able to really present the glove straight forward very easily without having to really try hard. So you can, you know, move the glove wherever you want. This is not like bad mobility. I wouldn't say it hampers my game really, but if there's any complaint I had about Vaughn gloves, it would be I wish they would kind of open up the wrist part a little more and make it so you could, you know, instead of like this is as far as I could. Okay, all right. So let's put it this way. So my forearm's perfectly horizontal, right? That's about as much as I can do it without really trying to force it and put my muscles into it, right? So that's not very much wrist flexion I can do. You know, if I really force it, okay, that. With other some other brands' gloves, you can like real easy do it like this, and there's like nothing pushing back on the outside of your wrist. But it hasn't been, I don't notice in my game that that's really causing much of a problem, you know? Just sometimes you have to put a little more effort into it, I guess, if you want to present that glove in a certain situation more upright like that. So it's not a huge deal, but if they were like asking me for suggestions of what they could change on the glove, that's what I would tell them. So this glove comes stock double T, so I just kept it like that because that's what I prefer. I can use a single T, I have in the past, but if I have a choice, I prefer double T, and that was the stock on this anyway, so I didn't change it, I didn't request anything different. But this one, as opposed to like my V7 glove, has the double T going all the way to the bottom, and it's a true double, two separate pieces. This one becomes one piece at the bottom, so it's split, or if you're going from the bottom up, you know, it starts as one, it splits into the two, and then goes to the top as two. I don't really know what that does better than just having two separate pieces. Maybe it's a little more stable. I don't know. I'm sure they'll have something they tell you that why it's better. You know, a lot of times they'll do things just because they have to make it seem different and make it seem like they're doing something better than before. I don't see what the big difference is. It just, to me, it's just like any other double T I've had. I mean, it's not bad. I like it, so whatever. We'll see if once I start playing with it, if I notice something. I don't know what I would really notice with that, but whatever. Double T, that's what it is stock. That's what I like. So again, like I said, it's got this, like I was saying with the blocker, it's got this nice looking, the V9 logo. It also has this other, I've never seen this logo on any Vaughn stuff before. This little, so like the actual logo, I've seen like the picture of this little goalie guy, but I've never seen it put on the gear like this. And again, this has that same like plasticky whatever material as the V9 logo. So, I mean, again, it's just an aesthetic thing, but I think it looks kind of cool. What else? Oh, just something, and I want to say this about the glove because when I move on to the leg pads, there's going to be a little gripe I have with Vaughn, but for you know, obviously I ordered this all custom, and you think, well, yeah, you're ordering custom, so you get whatever you want. But when I ordered this set from Goalie Monkey, I guess because I ordered it like kind of early on when they first started offering this as something you could order as a custom set, the way they did it was kind of weird, and I've never ordered a custom set this way before. So in the past, I've either gone directly talking with a rep from Vaughn, like just telling him exactly what I want over the phone, you know, going over every little thing, so it's like pretty set what you want and there's not going to be any confusion. Or I've dealt directly with somebody from the retailer, let's say Goalie Monkey, in the same kind of way where I'm talking to them over the phone and I'm really going over stuff. So like with this one, the guy in the past that I gone through in Goalie Monkey, he still works for Goalie Monkey, but he doesn't work in like the ordering whatever department anymore. He's I think he's doing like social media or whatever now. So I couldn't really go through him, right? So I just went through like their generic kind of process that anyone goes through to order custom gear. Now, it wouldn't have been so bad if you just go on their website or whatever and everything was on their website and it's just a one-step process of picking what you want and ordering it. But the weird thing about this was that the way they were doing it at the time I ordered it was you had to go to Vaughn's website, use their customizer, then they like print out a spec sheet from their customizer that has like a code or something, and then you have to send that or put that code in to Goalie Monkey's thing when you order it with them, and you also have to like redo the specs on Goalie Monkey's site. So it's like you're putting in the specs twice, and you also have to give them the order code from the Vaughn thing. So it's just like an extra middleman step that to me seemed like unnecessary, but that's how they were doing it at the time. And even then, like I remember there was like some questions and there was a little confusion, more so than I ever had in the past ordering custom gear. So I was a little afraid that something could go wrong just because I didn't felt it as secure as I had in the past ordering custom gear, when I'm really, you know, speaking to an actual person through every step and telling them exactly what I want. You know, this was more just filling out stuff and sending it to whoever gets it. I don't even know, right? So like, I wasn't so much concerned with like just colors in certain areas. Like that's pretty cut and dry. Like, you know, I want this color here, this color here, whatever. But there were a few like special requests I had, which if I was just talking to a person or a rep, I wouldn't have any reason to think that it might not get done. But because I did this in this impersonable way where it's just whatever, filling out stuff and writing like a little note of what I want, I wasn't sure if I was going to get some of these things done. So like with the glove, the way the binding color pick works, I forgot exactly what it matches with in another area. I think it might be what matches with like this front part of the glove. So since I wanted the front part navy, you know, I picked this navy, but then that made the bindings on the back navy too. But I wanted all the bindings on the back of my gear red. And for whatever reason, just the way the customizer set up, that wasn't the case with the blocker or the leg pads. I was able to easily, with the customizer, have the bindings on the backside be red. But in the glove, for whatever reason, it corresponded to something in the front that was navy. So when you pick navy for that color in the front, it makes the bindings bindings navy. So one of my special requests that I put in was I asked them if they could do the back bindings red instead of navy. I mean, it's simple enough, but just the fact that like I wasn't talking to a rep who told me, oh yeah, we could do it. Like, I don't know, maybe they'll say like, because Vaughn's kind of picky sometimes, like weirdly. So I don't know, like maybe they didn't want to do it. Maybe they're like, no, we're sticking to what's what here. I had nobody to tell me yes or no. I just sent my request and like crossed my fingers, hope they did it. So with the glove, they did it, and I'm glad they did, because I mean, not that it would be the biggest deal in the world if the bindings in the back were navy, but you know, it wouldn't match the rest of the gear, and it wouldn't match like the idea I had, whereas, you know, the front is all navy, back is all sport gold, and then all the like accents are red for both sides. So I'm happy that ended up, my special request for the glove ended up happening. I'm happy with that. We're going to talk about something that Vaughn fucked up with on the leg pads, but I don't think it's going to end up thankfully, like luckily, I don't think it's gonna end up being a big deal, but it's still not great that they fucked this up. Okay, so this is the V9 leg pad. Again, same kind of color scheme, navy face, a couple red accents, and then everything else sport gold, more red accents. Got the quick slide, which comes stock in pretty much all Vaughn pads now. You know, if you're in custom, you can not get it. If you've seen my review on the Pro V Elite pad that had the quick slide on it, you know that I'm sort of ambivalent about the quick slide. You know, more so to me when I was using it, like, yeah, I did notice some improvement in sliding, but I didn't feel like I necessarily needed it, and I was like over sliding a lot. So it's just gonna basically, it's more so than it just like really helping me and changing my game for the hugely better. It's more so just something I have to adjust to. So now I just have to adjust to and get used to pushing a little less than I've been used to pushing with just regular Gen Pro. But I guess in the long run, that's gonna save you energy, right? You're using less force to push yourself. So maybe like the more I use this and I really start to see like maybe I'll have a little more energy in games or in long scrimmages or pickup sessions, whatever. Maybe it'll be something in the long run I'll say, oh yeah, okay, I really notice a big difference and I really think the quick slide is a huge thing. As of right now, to me, it's not a big thing. Like, yeah, it slides a little better, but it's more so just something I have to adjust to and then like slide less. Otherwise, I feel like I end up over sliding with it with the Pro V Elite. That being said, it was the stock option on this, and I just figured whatever, I'll go with it. I'm sure it's not going to take that long to get used to it and just push less. You know, I rather just whatever, get used to it, push a little less, and then not regret not getting it or whatever, right? Like if I went with the Gen Pro again, it's like, okay, I'm still sticking with old stuff. You know, I really want to kind of push myself a little more with this set and into a little more modern stuff than what I'm been getting, because I don't want to necessarily just be always stuck in the same old pads. Like with my V7 pads, I got 2 sets of V7s because I didn't want to move up to the V8. I was like, you know, scared or whatever of the new V8. Also, there's some things I specifically didn't like about the V8, but whatever. So I didn't want to keep doing that. I wanted to go as modern as possible. Again, this has got that same nice logo I like. Big improvement over the V8 logo, let's face it. V8 logo looks like a dick. So yeah, pretty much anything was going to be an improvement over that. What else can I say? I do notice the pad feels lighter than my V7s. So I'm going to compare, you know, as you've heard so far, I'm comparing this a lot to my V7s because that's what I've been using. I never got a set of V8s. So even though that's the previous line of this, the previous year's model, I'm going to more compare it to my V7s. Also, I guess I can kind of compare it to the Pro V Elite since I used that for a little bit also. But yeah, this definitely feels lighter. It's not crazy light like a Bauer or Warrior, but there's definitely some weight difference between this and like the V7s or the Pro V Elites that I've tried. And part of that, I'm sure, has to do with the fact that they thinned out the pad a little bit, especially up top. You can see it's pretty thin compared in the past. It was always kind of a chunky pad, and they definitely streamlined it, which I like. That's something that if Vaughn would have asked me in the past, you know, what can we do to improve our pads, I would say, yeah, you know, make it a little thinner. There's no reason why they couldn't. And, you know, almost every other pad was getting thinner than theirs. They were like the chunkiest pads still out there. So they put their pad on a diet. It was a good thing. And yeah, a little lighter. Between that and also I probably like their strapping system, whatever, I don't know. Either way, the pad's a little lighter than what their Velocity pads have been in the past. So that's a good thing. Something different I ordered with this custom that's not stock is I got the extra soft boot and the extra soft core. So I can't speak to how stiff this pad is stock, but with the specs I ordered it's pretty soft. So we'll see the boot. Oops. You can see it, you know, it squishes in, whatever, pretty good. So I've always gone double brake, right? With these, I ordered double brake. When I opened the box, single brake. So that's the thing that I alluded to earlier that Vaughn fucked up with. That pretty big thing to fuck up with. I mean, how many brakes somebody orders is a pretty big thing to fuck up. Now, the reason why I'm not really mad about it, and I think it's gonna be fine anyway, is when I ordered these, I think I had just gotten the Pro V Elites and I'd used them maybe like once or twice. And so I ordered these with a double brake because that's what I've been using. You know, I've said this in videos before, I have bad hips, I don't have a wide butterfly, so I've been getting the double brake pads, right? Because I like them as flexible as possible. The Pro V Elite pads I had were single brake because I had got them used from somebody else, whatever, so I couldn't just get everything custom. But the guy I bought them from, his custom specs were pretty close to what I would have ordered, other than the fact that they were only single brake. But after using them for a while, like, I thought they were actually pretty fine single brake. And, you know, I was even thinking to myself, like, oh man, maybe I should have just ordered the single brake with my set, because I started feeling like I really didn't need a double brake with it, because even the Pro V Elite pads were pretty flexible. And if you go back and look at my review of the Pro V Elite pads, I even mentioned that, how I thought it was fine even though it was single brake. And I mentioned that the only thing I would maybe add to that pad is put a strap up top to help kind of pull the top down when I'm in my butterfly, which I did get on this pad, so I have a strap up at the top to help pull the thing in. So ultimately, I don't think it's gonna be a problem that it's only single brake. Like I just showed you, this is, even though I ordered the soft flex core, I didn't even expect it to be this soft, especially if you were told me it was a single brake. This is super squishy. So between how squishy it is, surprisingly, and the strap I have at the top, I don't foresee a problem with it. I feel like it's gonna pretty much act like how my double brake pads have been in the past, and if anything, it might even be a little better, because a lot of times what happens with the double brake pads, like at first and for a while, they'll be fine, but because it has that extra brake in it, after a while, like you know, once you get like a year into it, especially with heavy use, the top part gets pretty fappy, kind of floppy, whatever. Probably more so than you would want. So that's like kind of the drawback with the double brake, right? So in the end, I'm fine with it being single brake. And like I said, I was even thinking after I'd ordered these, and the more I was using the Pro V Elite pads, like, oh, maybe I should have ordered single brake instead of double. So I feel like if I would have been able to see these pads in person before I ordered it, and I could see like how flexible they could be even with the single brake, I probably would have just ordered it with a single brake anyway. So this is almost like a happy little accident, because also I, just from an aesthetic viewpoint, which not that I put that much stock in aesthetics, I'd rather be comfortable and get the spec I want, but I do think single brake just looks better. Like I know double brake kind of looks like ass, and most people will agree, and like they'll make fun of people when they get double brake. So I'm not gonna argue with you. Like I know it doesn't look that great, but you know, again, in the past, it was just what I felt was best for me, my playing. So I'm going to go over, even if it doesn't look that great, I'd still rather play better than have a single brake and not be comfortable. But anyway, so I do feel like the single brake looks better. Feel like it's flexible enough. It's, you know, I got the strap up top to help pull it in also. So I think it's going to be fine. But, you know, I don't want to let Vaughn off the hook totally. You know, that's not great that they didn't fulfill my order the way I placed it. And especially, like I said, that's a pretty big thing. It's not like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something small they could have fucked up with, but like, I don't know, like let's say if they made the straps navy instead of red, you know, that's a cosmetic thing, whatever, wouldn't have been a big deal. But the number of brakes someone orders, I don't know, it's kind of a big deal. And I don't know, like again, this is going back to the way I ordered it, the ordering process at the time, this like two-step thing where you go through a middleman and you know, you have to fill out 2 different spec sheets, and it's kind of confusing. Like, I don't know if because of all that, like something got lost in translation there, and that's what, you know, that's what's to blame. Thankfully, Goalie Monkey though has streamlined it, and now they have an actual customizer on their website, and I'm pretty sure if you order from them now, you just do it all on their website, and you don't have to go through Vaughn. It's not a 2-person, 2-step thing. It's just everything on Goalie Monkey, and it's more simplified. So that's good that they have that now. But like I said, at the time that I ordered this stuff, I was a little worried, a little iffy, and turns out I had a right to be worried because, as you saw, that they kind of fucked up on the pad. But like I said, ultimately, I think it's gonna be okay. It might end up being better. So it might be a happy accident that's better for me in the long run, that it's a single break. So I'm not really like upset about it. Moving to the back of the pad. So stock, it doesn't come with these straps here, right? And yeah, I know. Oh, you wanted to go more modern, but you still got the fucking leather straps like Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Anyway, so look, baby steps, all right, guys? I didn't get straps on the calf. There's no leather straps on the calf. This is the first main set I'm using that doesn't have any leather straps throughout the whole pad. But I still need help pulling in the thigh rise at the top and securing it around my knee. So I still went with the top two leather straps. Whatever, like I said, baby steps, man. Maybe in the next set, absolutely no leather straps. But I still wanted some, and you know what? I can take the leather strap out if I really wanted to, so whatever. I'd rather have it and then have the option to take it out than have ordered it without it, and then I'm like regretting and then I go, oh, no, I do really need that top strap. So whatever. So this is custom. Stock, it would not have these leather straps. Here is the knee cradle. So this thing is easily removable, the outside flap. It's just with this cord here. I'm definitely taking it off. I didn't take it off yet because for the video I wanted to just keep it as it was out of the box. But yeah, I don't put it across my knee. I put it down to the calf. This elastic and Velcro thing, put it down to the calf. So this is definitely coming off, but stock or whatever, normally it comes with this thing. So the knee landing is a little different than what's on my V7s, and it's different than what's on the Pro V Elites too. It's got this thing that comes off. Well, actually I can't take it off right now, but so this part where your knee actually literally hits isn't attached to anything, like isn't attached to this part. So in the past it's been like one whole thing that goes across here. It's all like one piece. It's all sewn in attached. This isn't. This is only being held on by Velcro. So there's a Velcro part right here it's being held with, and then you see this red strap up here, and then it's also at the bottom. This up and you'll see it there. Okay, so that's also another little Velcro thing that comes across the top and the bottom to help hold it in. So that's what's holding in this part where your knee goes. I haven't used it yet, so I don't know if that's better, worse, the same, doesn't make a difference, what? It's probably not going to make a difference, but I don't know. I would say probably prefer that it's a little more secured into here and like maybe sewn in. But like I said, it probably won't make a difference, and we'll see once I start using the pad if that's even an issue. But that's just something that's changed with this pad that I noticed then from like other Vaughn pads I've had in the past, is that this is like its own little separate thing that's just Velcroed on instead of attached to anything. What else? So this pad, as with now, I think just about every Vaughn pad, this, the Pro V Elite, and the SLR2, they all come with the, they call the Professor strap here. Yeah, come on. Actually, the official name is the Reactive Rotation Control strap, but people just call it the Professor strap. And I would say at this point, almost every pad from every brand has this, or at least has the option of ordering it on it at this point, because it's become so popular. And to me, and I've said this in past reviews, if you're any pad that has just an elastic Velcro strapping system, especially at the calf, you need this Professor strap to really anchor to your leg good. Otherwise, I feel like the pad tends to come off your leg a little too much. So this is something I definitely like. I liked it in my Pro V Elite pad that I tried. That being said, this is easily removable. It's got, you can see it's just attached with like this little cord here, whatever. So you just untie that, you take it out, and this other part too, it's all removable. So that's like something that I think is a good idea with this pad is it's very, like you can change it up pretty easily if you don't like something. Take a strap out, take the things out that you don't like, whatever, right? So I like that they give you that option instead of it necessarily, like some people might say, just sew it in, whatever. But that way you don't necessarily have to go custom. If you like this or you don't like this, you can get just the stock pad, and then if you don't like it, you just take it out. The leg channel itself looks a little more narrow than my V7 one. But again, I think that has to do with just the way the strapping is now with the elastic and the Velcro. Like you can't really have an open and loose one. Otherwise, it doesn't sit on your it doesn't sit on your leg as tight or as good. It kind of gets a little too loose. It comes off your leg a little too much. So I understand it. Like I've noticed that with a lot of the newer pads, is the leg channel's a little thinner, and because a lot of it also is because see, this completely encompasses your leg and wraps around, right? Where in the past older pads, it would just be like two sides of a thing and they kind of just meet, and it's like a loose thing, whatever, and you had the leather straps. But this is like an all-encompassing wrap around your calf. So you have that professor strap, then you have this other main strap that goes along the outside, and you seal it off that way. Put this down by the calf, whatever. And then you go down to the boot. I believe stock, it'll come with the boot strap. I was always going to get one anyway, whether it was stock or I had to get it as a custom option, because I still use the boot strap. I've tried no boot strap, and I just feel like it's too much freedom with the skate. Like I don't put it tight though. Like I mean, I still use it pretty loose, but I just still want something to hold it in like extreme situations if I'm really stretching my leg out, whatever. Otherwise, I find if I don't use the boot strap, sometimes the pad will just move up on my leg a little too much or whatever. So I still like that feeling of having some sort of an anchor kind of thing on the boot. But like I said, I don't put it super tight, so it's not like it's putting pressure on my ankle or whatever. But I just do still want something that has a stopping point for my skate, so the pad can't move off my skate that much. That being said, this boot strap they have has a little piece of elastic, so it has a little bit of give to it. I feel like the Pro V Elite boot strap was more elastic, had a little more give. This is a little more tight and like a classic leather boot strap, even though it's not all leather. It's only like a third leather and the rest is the Velcro and elastic. But yeah, it still has some give, so whatever. Something that's a little curious I found on this pad, and this is just a stock thing that's on the V9s, is this little flap where the boot is. So this is the inside of the boot. So this is the protection for the inner boot, but it's just its own independent flap. So like in the past, the calf wrap would just extend down here, but it would be like one piece or all attached, right? But this is just its own flap that's attached by itself to the bottom here. Let me do this so you can see this better. I don't know how, there. Kind of hard to show you. So this is just its own flap. It's not attached to anything else higher up, whatever. So I don't know if this is gonna cause a problem where it might like catch on the skate or something like that. Again, haven't used this yet, so I don't know. It could be a complete non-issue, but it's just something that kind of popped into my head when I saw it. Like, it's a little weird. I've never seen a Vaughn pad with this independent flap at the bottom like this. So we'll see if it even is a problem. It probably won't be. I'm sure it'll end up being fine. But yeah, it's just like something different on this pad that I haven't seen in past Vaughn pads. Another thing is this little pillow, again, where your calf landing is. So this is something you see on a lot of the pads out now, not just Vaughn. They have this little pillow here. So that gives you a little extra something that pushes the pad down on the ice. So when you're dropping down, your calf is pressing this, you have something that, I don't know, I guess like a split second quicker, it'll get that pad down on the ice with this little pillow thing. It's kind of like a little cheater pillow thing. So it's only attached with Velcro. It's very easy. You can take it out. I'm just gonna leave it in. I don't have a problem with it, whatever. My past pads didn't have it, but I'm not against it. I'll take a little cheater pillow, sure, why not? But whatever, it's just another option that's like different with this that to talk about. And again, like I've been saying with some other things, it's very easy. If you don't like it, you can take it out. So that's something pretty cool with this pad is it's if you don't like something, you can, almost anything with this pad, you can adjust or take out or whatever, if you don't like it. What else? Finally, we come to the toe ties, the stock toe ties that this comes with is Vaughn's bungee toe ties. And I think these are terrible. Oof, yeah, these look like a bad design. Again, I haven't used them yet. In fairness to Vaughn, have not used them. But I'm not going to give them a chance. I'm going to put my Kova toe tie things on here because to be honest, these look so terrible, I don't even want to give them a try. So like the bungee part themselves are pretty stiff. I feel like they're stiffer than other bungee ones I've seen. I mean, yeah, it has give, you can, but I feel like you're still going to be putting torque on your ankle to get that give out of it because it's not easy to extend it out. So I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of having the bungee things, which is supposed to, you know, make it easier on your ankles to, you know, pull it out a little bit. And just the worst thing about this though is the way it clips together. It's got this like, I don't know if it's like rubber or plasticky kind of thing here. And then this is plastic. Dude, in my experience, there is no way this little plastic clip is gonna fucking stay. It's gonna break. It's definitely breaking at some point. You might get some months out of it, half a year maybe if you're lucky, but I don't see how this doesn't break because this does not seem very durable at all. Very flimsy, thin piece here that closes it off. I don't like this design personally. I wouldn't feel confident in it. I feel like I'd be worried that this shit's gonna break on me in the middle of a game or something and then I'll be screwed. So, you know, maybe I'm completely wrong and I should use this and give it a chance, but I just don't like the way it looks. And I have an option I like, the Kova one, which if you go back in my videos, I did a review on it. So I'm gonna use that. In the past, I've been using toe ties. I've still been using the skate lace. So with this one, originally I was thinking about just doing the skate lace again, but again, I want to kind of push myself, get out of the box, get a little more modern. So I did want to do something more modern, like a bungee thing, whatever. But like I said, I don't like these at all. And I'm just going to use my Kova system, which, like I said, if you want to go back in my videos, look for that. And you can see what that is. I think they're one of the better like bungee or elasticy type toe tie systems out there. So I'm going to install that on these. So yeah, I don't know what else I can say about them. I talked about the quick slide. Oh, just, I don't know, one more. Oh, well, two more little quick things. Another thing kind of going along with how I said there's like certain little meaningless aesthetic things that I kind of like with the V9s is this little sizing patch here. I don't know, I think it looks kind of sharp. Again, in the past, kind of like with the model logo, in the past they used to just kind of stitch the sizing on the side or whatever. And now they put it in this little like sign again that has this like clear plastic thing over it and you can see the carbon inside. Again, this is just purely aesthetics and really it's meaningless, but I don't know, I think it looks kind of sharp, whatever. So the final thing I just want to talk about, I don't know, maybe you might not know this. So Vaughn has two main factories in North America where they produce their pro level stuff. One in Canada, off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly where in Canada. I want to say Ontario, Canada, but maybe I'm wrong. And then the other one, they have a factory in Michigan. So one in the US, one in Canada. This is the first Vaughn pad of any kind I've had that has this tag on it that says made in the USA. And then if you look, it tells you it was made in Oxford, Michigan, their plant in Oxford, Michigan. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that none of the other pro Vaughn stuff I had was made in the American plant. So I guess all the other Vaughn stuff I've had was Canadian made. Not that I don't know if one's better than the other, both North American. But I just noticed that like, this is the first time I've seen that tag on this. So I don't know if it's just that they just started putting this tag on it or that I've only had the Canadian factory ones in the past. I mean, I've had a decent amount of Vaughn stuff. So like, I don't know how they decide which plant is going to make what stuff because I haven't moved. I've been living in the same area. I live in the US, I live in Florida. So I don't know. You know, I've had 3 custom sets of my own, full custom sets. I've had various pants, chest protectors, like 5, 6 pants and chest protectors each. I've bought used pro level sets from other people of Vaughn. Never seen the made in USA tag. So, like I said, I'm not quite sure if it's that they just started putting that tag on there from the Michigan factory or It just so happens that I've never used pads of theirs that were made in the USA. But whatever, it's just something I noticed. Like I said, I don't know necessarily that will people, if, I don't know, maybe you can comment if you have an opinion. If supposedly it's like better to get it from the Canadian factory or than the USA factory. I've never heard anything that one's better than the other. You know, they're both the pro level and they're both made in North America. So I don't know, whatever, we'll see. I don't notice any kind of difference in quality or anything of the pad. But yeah, so I guess that's about it. I can't think of anything else I want to talk about with these. Like I said, I'm going to get these on the ice probably tomorrow for the first time, and then, you know, use them a few times at least, and then I'll make my review video on these. You know, this is something I've really been looking forward to. Very excited about these. You know, I'm kind of stepping up a little more up-to-date, newer equipment for this old guy, so we'll see how that goes. I feel very confident that I'm going to like these, and it's going to work out for me with the options I got. With that said, I guess I'll see you in the next video, and take care.